You see it. The perfect entry-level job. You spend hours tailoring your resume, highlighting every relevant project, every ounce of potential. You hit apply, and for a moment you feel a flicker of hope. Then the requirements load. Minimum 5 years of experience. Across the digital divide, a hiring manager stares at an empty applicant queue. Nobody wants to work anymore, they mutter to their screen. You're told you're not experienced enough for a job that requires no experience. You're also told your entire generation doesn't want to work. Both of these things cannot be true. So who is truly incompatible? Gen Z with the job, or the job with the new era? The truth is, the problem isn't you. It's a system built for a world that no longer exists. The friction you feel isn't a personal failing. It's a structural crisis. And today, we're going to prove it. If you've ever felt like you're playing a game with impossible rules, stick around. We're about to dissect the system and, more importantly, show you how to build a career that bypasses it entirely. Make sure you're subscribed to GenShift so you don't miss the blueprint. 1. The employment paradox, system failure. The feeling of being locked out isn't just in your head, it's in the data. In the summer of 2025, the youth unemployment rate for ages 16 to 24 climbed to 10.8%, a notable increase from the previous year. But that number only tells part of the story. A recent Bank of America analysis revealed a surge in the underemployment rate, meaning more young people are taking whatever jobs they can find, not the ones that build a career. The number of Gen Z households receiving unemployment benefits has grown by a staggering 32% year over year, a rate nearly 4 times that of Gen X. This isn't a talent shortage, it's an opportunity bottleneck. The most damning evidence comes from the World Economic Forum, which found that global entry-level job postings have plummeted by 29 percentage points since January 2024. The first rung on the career ladder hasn't just been raised. For millions, it's been sawed off completely. Think of the job market as a massive funnel. At the top, a generation armed with skills, ambition, and a readiness to contribute. But the funnel itself is broken, constricted by outdated filters and systemic neglect. The data shows a generation ready and willing to work, facing a system that has sealed off the traditional entry points. The paradox is clear. Talent is abundant, yet opportunity is scarce. This isn't a failure of the applicants pouring in, it's a failure of the funnel itself. 2. The broken hiring machine, structural sabotage. So what's blocking the funnel? The first barrier you encounter is digital, and it's called an Applicant Tracking System, or ATS. This is the algorithmic gatekeeper that 99% of Fortune 500 companies use to screen resumes. Its purpose is efficiency, but its effect is sabotage. Research reveals that these systems automatically reject up to 75% of all applications before a human ever sees them. A resume that uses creative phrasing instead of rigid keywords or is formatted in a way the machine can't parse is sent straight to the digital trash. This isn't a system designed to find the best candidate. It's a system designed to reject the most candidates. It's a performance of efficiency that masks a deep structural incompetence. But even if your resume makes it past the algorithm, you face a distinctly human paradox, the entry-level job that requires years of experience. This isn't just a meme, it's a risk-averse hiring strategy that has become an epidemic. The World Economic Forum identifies this catch-22, needing experience to get experience, as a fundamental barrier for young job seekers. Companies aiming to de-risk their hiring and cut down on training costs are essentially trying to hire for a mid-level role at an entry-level salary. They aren't looking for potential to be nurtured, they're looking for a finished product they don't have to invest in. This creates a self-perpetuating crisis. By refusing to invest in training the next generation of talent, companies are starving their own future pipelines. They are hiring for a world that is already gone, an industrial age model of static, predictable roles, while the modern world demands agility, creativity, and the very potential they are filtering out. The machine isn't just broken, it's actively working against its own long-term survival. 3. The culture clash, values versus compliance. Beyond the broken mechanics of hiring lies a deeper, more profound disconnect, a clash of cultures, values, and the very definition of work itself. This isn't about avocado toast or TikTok trends. It's about a fundamental mismatch in the psychological contract, the unwritten expectations between an employer and an employee. The old contract was simple. You offer loyalty, and in return, you get stability. But Gen Z grew up watching that contract get shredded. They saw the 2008 financial crisis, mass layoffs, and the gig economy replace the promise of a lifelong career. They know stability is no longer guaranteed, so they're not offering blind loyalty in return. Instead, they come to the table with a new checklist, one built for the creative era. According to Deloitte's 2024 survey, work-life balance is their absolute top priority when choosing a job. Nearly 9 in 10 say a sense of purpose is crucial for their job satisfaction. They expect flexibility, transparent and continuous feedback, and genuine support for their mental well-being. But many organizations are still operating on the old checklist, one designed for the industrial era: office presence, fixed hours, rigid hierarchy, and compliance. And this is where the translation fails. When a Gen Z employee asks why, it's not seen as a search for purpose, but as insubordination. When they advocate for flexible hours, it's not interpreted as a desire to optimize their energy and productivity, but as a poor work ethic. This disconnect is stark. In one survey, a shocking 81% of managers claim Gen Z workers lack work ethic, with 74% describing them as entitled. What one generation sees as a healthy boundary, another sees as a lack of commitment. What one sees as a need for authentic communication, another dismisses as being too sensitive. This isn't a conflict of right versus wrong. It's a conflict between two different operating systems trying to run on the same hardware, and the result is a system crash that leaves both sides feeling frustrated and misunderstood. 4. The economic trap, the gig precarity. When the front door to the traditional career path is locked, you don't just stand there, you find a side door. For Gen Z, that side door has become the gig economy. But let's be clear, for many, this isn't a lifestyle choice. It's an economic necessity. With the cost of living as their number one concern and nearly 6 in 10 living paycheck to paycheck, the pressure is immense. A staggering 46% of Gen Z now participates in the gig economy, a rate significantly higher than any previous generation. They are freelancing, driving, creating content, and building side hustles not just for passion, but for survival, to supplement stagnant entry-level wages or to simply build an income when a stable job is out of reach. This economic pressure has forced a radical redefinition of work itself. For boomers, work was often a duty, a stable, lifelong commitment to provide for a family and serve a company. For millennials, it evolved into a career, a ladder to be climbed for status, achievement, and personal fulfillment. But Gen Z, faced with a broken ladder and a precarious economy, is pioneering the third definition: work as an extension of identity. It's a fluid, curated portfolio of projects, skills, and income streams. They are the first generation forced to unbundle the traditional job, finding income from one source, skill development from another, and a sense of purpose from a third. What looks like instability from the outside is actually the prototype for a new, more agile way of working. They are involuntarily beta testing the future of work, a future defined not by a single job title, but by a dynamic portfolio of value. 5. The recalibration, the solution. So how do we fix this? The solution isn't to try and repair the old broken ladder, it's to build a new way of navigating the world of work altogether. The solution is mutual adaptation, and it starts with a new meta skill, career fluency. Career fluency is the ability to build a nonlinear path, to continuously learn and adapt, and to articulate your value beyond a job title. For Gen Z, this means shifting from a resume mindset to a portfolio mindset. A resume is a static list of past duties. A portfolio is a living, breathing showcase of your capabilities. The key strategy is skill stacking, the deliberate combination of complementary skills to create a unique and powerful value proposition. Don't just be a writer. Be a writer who understands SEO and can create simple graphics for social media. Don't just be a coder. Be a coder who can communicate complex ideas to non-technical stakeholders. Treat every project, side hustle, and online course not as a line item, but as a piece of evidence for your portfolio. For employers, the mandate is equally clear: adapt or become obsolete. This means re-engineering hiring to be truly skills-based, as advocated by the World Economic Forum. It means throwing out the 5-year experience requirement for an entry-level job and using assessments that test for potential and problem-solving ability. It means building cultures of purpose, flexibility, and trust that attract and retain modern talent, rather than repelling it. The future of work will not be defined by rigid linear paths. It will be defined by multidimensional portfolio careers, and Gen Z, forged in the fires of this crisis, is not the problem to be solved. They are the pioneers showing everyone else the way forward. Conclusion. So is Gen Z incompatible? No, they aren't unemployable. The system is unadaptable. The world of work has undergone a seismic shift, and the old maps no longer lead to the treasure. But by embracing career fluency and the portfolio mindset, you're not just surviving a broken system, you're building its replacement. The future of work isn't a ladder you climb, it's a web that you design. You have the tools, the adaptability, and the digital fluency to be the architect of your own multidimensional career. The power is shifting from the institution to the individual, and you are on the leading edge of that change. What's the most ridiculous job requirement you've ever seen? Share your biggest job hunting frustration in the comments below. Let's validate each other's experience. And for more deep dives into the future of work, make sure you subscribe to GenShift.